Going to extremes. Language focus relative clauses, present and past participles black circle reading a fairy tale of New York. Vocabulary adverb collocations. Everyday English exclamations. Listening extreme temperatures, writing describing places. Everything is good in moderation. Even moderation. Aveta Cherneva. Watch the video introduction. Use your workbook for self-study. 8. 1. Do you think the man in the photo is enjoying himself? Why do you think he is doing this? Would you? Question mark. 2. Read the quote. What does it mean? Do you agree with it? When do you break this rule? Go online for more practice. And to check your progress. Language focus relative clauses. Test your grammar. 1. Complete the sentences with one of the relative pronouns. Who, which, where, what, when, whose. 1. The woman you met at the party was my sister. Surprised us all. 2. She's decided to stop teaching. 3. My other sister lives in London, is a teacher. The African. 4. Apparently. Australia. 5. Her boyfriend, delighted. 6. They don't know. 7. Their flat. 8. The flat she wants to do is move to. Parents live in Perth, is. Or. The going they bought last year, is up for sale. I bought recently isn't far from theirs. 2. In which sentences can the relative pronoun be replaced by that? 3. Underline the present and past participles in these sentences. Rewrite them using relative pronouns. 1. The bored woman standing next to him is his wife. 2. Most houses built in the 16th century are listed buildings. Skeleton superhero. 1. Look at the photos. What sport is the man doing? Would you like to do it? Why not? 2. Read the text about Kwasi Frimpong quickly. What impression do you get of him? 3. Read the text again and complete it with clauses A.J. Whose coaches believed he'd lost his passport. B. Some of whom had been training for years. E. Was the day when. D. In which a short, quick sprint start is essential. E. Which will be held in Beijing. F. Earned by selling vacuum cleaners. G. Which housed a family of 10. H. Using a wooden board with wheels. I. Who had moved to the Netherlands. J.W. Here he set up the improbable sounding. 8.1 Listen and check. February 15, 2018, was the day when 32-year-old Kwasi Frimpong from Ghana entered history. Sprinting alongside a tiny sled, jumping onto it face first, and hurtling down an ice track at 100 kilometers an hour, he became the first African to compete in the Olympic skeleton. From Africa to Europe. Born in 1986, Kwasi was brought up by his grandmother in Kumasi, Ghana, in a 4 square meters room. Aged 8, he joined his mother. He loved sport and was a talented sprinter, becoming the Dutch junior 200 meters champion at the age of 17. However, he never traveled to competitions abroad. Kwasi *_ had a secret. His paperwork hadn't been processed, so he was an illegal immigrant, and wouldn't have been allowed back into the Netherlands. From sprinting to skeleton. In 2008, he finally got his Dutch passport and trained for the 2012 London Olympics, but injury ended his sprinting ambitions. He changed sport, and trained in bobsled, an event _. But after failing to get into the 2014 Winter Olympic team, he decided to give up competitive sport altogether. However, his wife, Erica, told him she didn't want him forever moaning about his lost Olympic dreams, so Kwasi changed sport again, this time to skeleton racing. He loved it, and set his heart on competing in the 2018 Olympics in South Korea, but not for the Netherlands. For his birth country, Ghana. Iceman. The skeleton race. I have to push, dive on the sled, and navigate a mile of ice track at 80 to 90 miles per hour with my chin 3 inches from the ice. Single quote. Back to Africa. Ghana. Aged 31, for the first time in 23 years, Kwasi returned to Ghana, Bobsled and Skeleton Federation Ghana. In a country with no snow or ice, he introduced fellow Ghanaians to winter sports. Back in the Netherlands, he trained for the Olympics with money door to door, and just managed to qualify for South Korea, entering the top 60 in the world. Success of a sort. In a Hollywood movie, Akwasi would have won Olympic gold. But of course he had no chance against his competitors. He came last. That is okay, he said. For me, being at the Winter Olympics is about breaking barriers. To show black people from warm countries can do this as well. But he now hopes to win the first Olympic gold medal for Ghana in the 2022 Winter Games. 4. Answer the questions. 1. What record did Akwasi Frimpong break in February 2018? 2. Why was he brought up by his grandmother? 3. Why did he tell his athletics coaches that he'd lost his passport? 4. Did he compete in the 2012 London Olympics? 5. Why was bobsled a good option for him? 6. Why did he decide to give up his sporting career? 7. What made him change his mind? 8. Why is the Bobsled and Skeleton Federation Ghana improbable sounding? 9. What are Akwasi's aims for the future? What do you think? What is Akwasi trying to prove? Why? Why do you think his helmet has a rabbit escaping from a lion's mouth on it? Which of these adjectives do you think best describe him? Fearless, determined, childish, gutsy, spirited, passive, resourceful, daring, hot-headed, enthusiastic, brave, inspiring. Language focus. Relative clauses. Relative clauses are like adjectives. They give more information about nouns. We have a lovely neighbor who comes from Peru. 1. Underline the relative clauses in these sentences. I met a woman who works at the UN. Opening parenthesis. Defining. B. My sister, who lives in New York, works at the UN. Opening parenthesis. Non-defining. C. The house which we just passed is Lisa's. Opening parenthesis. Defining. D. Lisa's house, which cost over $1 million, was flooded last month. Opening parenthesis. Non-defining. 2. Explain the use of commas in the sentences. Read them aloud. How do the commas affect the pronunciation? 3. In which sentence in one can the relative pronoun be omitted? Why? Present and past participles. Underline the present and past participles in these sentences. Which are adjectives? 1. Who is that boring man standing at the bar? 2. The house sold for over £1 million was demolished and rebuilt. 3. The owner has 4 houses, including a ruined castle in Scotland. Grammar reference 8.1 to 8.2. p. 160 to 161. Practice. Punctuation and pronunciation. 1. Take turns to read the sentences aloud, then write any necessary punctuation. 1. The area of London I like best is Soho. 2. My father, who's a doctor, plays the drums. 3. The book that I'm reading at the moment is great. 4. Ed passed his driving test first time, which surprised me. 5. People who eat too much sugar risk getting diabetes. 6. I met a man whose aim in life was to visit every capital city in the world. 7. The Channel Tunnel, which opened in 1995, is a great way to get from England to France. 8. A short bald man seen running away from the scene of the crime is being sought by the police. 8.2 Listen and repeat the sentences. 2. What does each of these sentences mean with and without commas? Which sentences need commas? 1. Jeanette's husband, who works in advertising, is a very interesting man. 2. My 2 children who love sports are really good tennis players. 3. Mercury, which melts at -39 degrees Celsius, is a liquid at room temperature. 4. The star in the sky, which never moves, is called the North Star. 5. I'd like to visit the house where Picasso lived while we're in Spain. 6. Our house, which is in France, has a swimming pool. Relative clauses adding information. 3. Work with a partner. Put a cross X next to the sentences that need more information in the gap to make sense. 1. The apple tree in our garden needs cutting down. 4. Use the information below to complete the sentences in 3, rewriting them as relative clauses. A. She works in our Oxford office. B. You know this person. C. We took them in Barbados. D. She met him on holiday in Greece. E. It explains German grammar. F. They do regular exercise. G. My grandfather planted it 60 years ago. H. It's situated off the NE coast of Australia. 5. Discuss with a partner. Which sentences in 4 need commas around the clauses? Y. Proverbs. 6. Work with a partner. Make proverbs using lines from A and B, and the relative pronouns in the box. What do they mean? Are there similar proverbs in your language? We wear that. X3. When. X2. What? A. 1. People who live in glass houses. D2. It's the exception. 3. Don't put off until tomorrow. 4. Time flies. 5. All. 6. Home is. Glitters. 7. I'll cross that bridge. 8. All's well. B. A. I come to it. Nya. 2. People. 3. She married a man. 4. The Great Barrier Reef _ live longer. Is the largest coral reef in the world. 5. Did I show you the photographs? 6. Let me introduce you to Lindy Russell. 7. I'm looking for a book. 8. I was speaking to someone. B. The heart is. You're having fun. D. Shouldn't throw stones. E. Proves the rule. F. Is not gold. 9. You can do today. H. Ends well. 8.3. Listen and check. 7. Think of lines that will make your partner say some of the expressions. Wow. It's 5 o'clock already. Well, time flies when you're having fun. Present and past participles. Ing and ed. 8. Complete each pair of sentences with the correct form of the same verb, once as a present participle and once as a past participle. 1. I hurt my leg. Football. By 4 people. In China on these trousers. Sandwiches and hot drinks. This essay. Bridge is a card game. 2. It says, I work in a cafe. 3. I've spent the whole morning. On the wall was some graffiti letters. In huge. Adding more detail. 11. Add all the words and phrases from the box to make this short sentence longer. A man was walking down the street. Slowly busy. Young. Cool. Humming to himself. Lost in thought. Listening to music. 4 goods. I've spent all day. In the sale cannot be refunded. Christmas gifts online. 5. The burglar was caught. Into the house. Be careful of the. 9. Which group of adjectives B or C go with the topics in A? Glass on the floor. A. B. S. 1. The weather. Annoying. Annoyed. 2. A holiday. Shocking. Shocked. 3. News. Depressing. Depressed. 4. A journey. Relaxing. Relaxed. 5. A neighbor. Exhausting. Exhausted. 6. A mistake. Boring. Bored. 7. A film. Embarrassing. Embarrassed. Match each topic to 1 or more adjectives. 108.4. Listen to conversations about the topics in 9. For each, say how the woman feels and why. It's raining again. Single quote. Oh no. Another miserable day when we're stuck indoors. Single quote. She's depressed. The weather is depressing. 8.5. Listen and compare. 12. Work with a partner. Choose 2 sentences and make them longer. Read them aloud to the class. Who has the longest sentence? 1. A girl was sunbathing on the beach. 2. A policeman came into the room. 3. A boy stole a wallet on a bus. 4. The actor was seen in a restaurant. 5. The conference was a success. 8.6. Listen and compare your ideas. Reading and speaking A Fairy Tale of New York. Tarzan. 1. Write down 3 things you know about New York. Share ideas with the class. 2. Read this conclusion of a story about a man called Bob Redman, a resident of New York. Answer the questions. This story just goes to prove that America is still a land of opportunity, where dreams can become reality. And, in the hectic, competitive world of New York, it is comforting to know that a man like Bob Redman exists. 1. Why has America always been seen as a land of opportunity? 2. Why does New York have a reputation for being hectic and competitive? 3. What do you think are the themes of this story? Why might it be comforting? 4. What kind of person do you think Bob Redman is? Is he a successful businessman? 3. Read the title of the article and the introduction. Answer the questions. 1. Why is Bob Redman called Tarzan? 2. What advice is given about where to stay in New York? Why? 3. What are the enormous cliffs of stone and cement? Question mark. 4. Read the headings of the paragraphs. What can you guess now about Bob Redman's story? 5. Read all of the article. Were any of your guesses correct? Are these statements true? Check mark. Or false? X. Question mark. Correct the false ones. 1. All the stories of people living among the treetops were rumors. 2. Bob Redman's childhood home was situated among trees. 3. Bob felt lonely sometimes in the park, especially at night. 4. Estate agents rented out his final house, but we don't know for how much. 5. Not many people went to the parts of the park where his tree houses were. 6. Friends were welcome to visit, but sometimes behaved badly. 7. The park director was impressed with Bob's exceptional skills. 8. He's not completely happy with his new job because he can't build tree houses. Vocabulary. 6. Use context to work out the meaning of the highlighted words in the text. Then match them with the synonyms. 1. Very sad. 2. Next to. 3. Take apart. 4. Seen. 5. Moving. 6. Were amazed by. 7. Unnoticed. 8. Took a lot of trouble. Of Central Park. Anyone visiting New York for the first time should try to get a room high up in one of the hotels at the southern end of Central Park. The view is extraordinary. The park extends northwards until it is lost from sight in a sea of treetops, with enormous cliffs of stone and cement on each side. Life among the treetops. For many years, legends grew among people who lived near the park, legends of life among the treetops. One story was of a young handsome man who had been spotted from time to time among the branches. In this case, the rumor turned out to be true. There was a young, handsome man who had been living in the treetops for 8 years, until discovered by the city authorities. I like the solitude. Single quote. It's a touching tale. Bob Redman, brought up by his mother in a tiny Manhattan apartment, had always been addicted to trees. When he was 14, he went into the park and built himself a tree house. It was the first of 13 houses, each one more elaborate than the last. I like to be in trees, Redman explained to a reporter from the New York Times. I like to be up, away from everything. I like the solitude. I love most of all to look at the stars. The view at night of the city lights and stars is beyond description. A 5-room split-level home. His final house was the grandest of them all. Constructed at the top of a huge beech tree, it was what an estate agent would describe as a 5-room, split-level home, commanding spectacular views of the city skyline and Central Park. It included ladders and rope bridges leading to an adjacent tree, as well as wooden benches and tables. Who can imagine what the rent might be for such a house? Friends come to visit. Redman went to great pains to hide his tree houses, building them in neglected corners of the park and camouflaging them with branches and green paint. Friends used to come to visit him, sometimes as many as 12 people at a time, bringing sandwiches and radios and books and torches. Certain rules had to be obeyed. No breaking branches. No litter, no fires, and no loud music, except his brother Bill, who sometimes brought a set of conga drums and played them very late at night, giving rise to the rumors of a tree-dwelling tribe. The party's over. Although the park authorities quickly became aware of his activities, the houses would often go undetected for long periods of time. Some lasted as long as a whole year before they were found and destroyed by officials, with a mournful Bob Redman watching from a distance. His magnificent final house went unnoticed for 4 months before Bob was awoken one morning with the word, "Come down. The party's over." Single quote. He climbed down and was met by Frank Serper, park director, and 10 officers of the park's enforcement patrol. Mr. Serper had been hunting Redman for years, but he was generous in his praise for the houses. "We marveled at the spectacular workmanship," he said. "The floors were strong enough to hold a truck, and not one nail was driven into the tree." And when Bob offered to help dismantle the tree house, well, he walked up the tree, an officer said. "It was amazing." Single quote. "The perfect job." Mr. Serper concluded that rather than lock him up, they should offer Redman a job. He is now a professional pruner and tree climber for the Central Park Conservancy. However, he has had to promise not to build any more tree houses. He says he cannot believe that a job so perfect for him could possibly exist. This story just goes to prove that America is still a land of opportunity, where dreams can become reality. And, in the hectic, competitive world of New York, it is comforting to know that a man like Bob Redman exists. Postscript. When a New York writer called Shira Boss needed her tiny Japanese maple tree pruning, someone suggested a man called Bob Redman. They are now married, with 2 sons, and Shira has written a children's book telling Bob's story, Up in the Leaves, which was published in 2018. Roleplay. Up in the Leaves. Work in pairs. Student A is Bob Redman. Student B is a journalist. Act out an interview with Bob Redman. Tell me, Bob, when did you build your first tree house? And why exactly? What do you think? Well, I was 14 and... If you were park director, would you have allowed Bob to build tree houses in the park? Why not? What are the pros and cons of living in big cities? Why do cities have parks? Watch a video about the excitement of being high up in the treetops. Listening and speaking extreme temperatures. 1 work in groups. What's the coldest, hottest or wettest place you've ever been? What were you doing there? What was it like? 2 You are going to listen to Helena and Abby recalling their extreme experiences of heat and cold. Look at the words in the box about Helena. What do you think happened to her? 38.7 Listen to Helena and answer the questions. 1 Where was she? 2 What was the temperature? 3 What did she do that was silly? 4 What kinds of transport did she use? 5 Where was she going? Why? 6 What did she see when she arrived? 7 Who did she meet? Was this person helpful? 8 How did the temperature affect her? 9 What happened in the end? 4 Look at the photo and the words in the box about Abby and guess the answers to the questions in 3 for her story. 58.8 Listen to Abby and give answers to the questions in 3, comparing them with your ideas. Vocabulary. 6 Complete the sentences with the adverbs used by Helena and Abby. Then check on page 148. Completely. Dramatically. Extremely profusely. Really. Exactly. Properly. Seriously. Stupidly. Hot and... We. 1 It was. Decided to go dancing. 2 We were sweating. 4 My brain wasn't working. 3 The temperature rises. Landscape. 5 It was. 6 They all looked. 7 I was beginning to panic. Anonymous, this. The same. Writing P138 describing places, my favorite part of town. Helena. Black Circle a nightclub. Black circle, the pyramids a motorbike. Black circle broke down. Abbey. Black circle, friends, outskirts of town. Black circle, an anonymous landscape. Black circle, heat exhaustion. Black circle, rehydration, salts. Black circle, the sunrise, a taxi. Black circle, frozen nostrils. Black circle, tram, an old lady. Black circle, feet and hands. Black circle, huge blocks of flats. Black circle, bonfires. Spoken English, adding a comment. In conversation we can use which to add a comment as an afterthought. This often expresses our reaction to what we have just said. He gave me a lift home, which was nice of him. 1. Add a suitable comment from B to Helena's and Abby's comments in A. Sometimes more than one is possible. A. 1. It was over 40 degrees Celsius and we went dancing. 2. We visited the pyramids at sunrise. 3. The motorbike broke down in the desert. 4. My friends were worried I'd get lost. 5. My nostrils actually froze. B. Which is hardly surprising with my Russian. Which was rather a stupid thing to do. Which was very painful. Which was no laughing matter. Which was understandable. 6. The old lady couldn't understand me, which was just amazing. 8.9 Listen and check, compare. Practice the comments with a partner. 2. Write sentences ending with a comment from B. Tell the class, I missed the last bus home, which was no laughing matter. Vocabulary and pronunciation. Adverb collocations. Extreme adjectives. 1. Which group of adjectives, A or B, goes with very? Which goes with absolutely? Why? Absolutely. Surprised. Good. Bad. Interesting. Tired. Upset. A. Hungry, happy. Beautiful. Funny, nice. Hot. Big, clever, cold. Lovely. Sad, silly. Wet. Very. Wonderful. Fascinating. Huge. Freezing. Exhausted. Hilarious. Starving, boiling. B. Enormous. Drenched. Thrilled. Awful, gorgeous. Amazed. Fabulous. Stunning. Devastated, ridiculous, brilliant, dreadful. 2. Match each adjective in A to one or more adjectives with a similar meaning in B. 3. Complete the conversations using adjectives from 1. 1A. Shall I turn the heating down? It's very hot in here. B. Please do. I'm absolutely. 2A. It's silly having to use all these passwords for everything, isn't it? B. Oh, it's absolutely. Exclamation mark. How are you supposed to remember them all? 3A. Cara looks. Dress. Doesn't she? What a beautiful. B. Oh, wow. She looks absolutely. 4A. Dan tells such good jokes. He's very funny, isn't he? B. Oh, yes. He's absolutely. 5A. I'll cook some lunch if you're hungry. B. Absolutely. Sometimes. Question mark. You bet. I didn't have breakfast, so I'm. 6A. Was Lisa upset when she heard the bad news? B. Oh, she was absolutely. 48.10 Listen and compare, and practice with a partner. Make similar conversations on topics such as holidays, books, films, people, the weather, etc. Quite. 58.11 The adverb quite has different meanings. Listen and repeat these sentences and notice the stress and intonation. Which in each pair is more positive? 1. A. He's quite nice. 2. A. She's quite clever. 6. Read these lines aloud to B. He's quite nice. B. She's quite clever. Give them the right meaning. 1. A. That book was quite interesting. You should read it. B. That book was quite interesting, but I wouldn't really recommend it. 2. A. I'm quite tired. Shall we stop playing? B. I'm quite tired, but I could play one more game. 8.12 Listen, check and repeat. A night at the Oscars. 7. Read the speech. Who is speaking? Work with a partner and rewrite it. Make it much more dramatic by changing and adding adjectives and adverbs. And the Oscar goes to... Dot. Dot. Well, I certainly know how sad it is to lose out on these awards, so I'm very happy and surprised to finally receive one. I am grateful to all the nice people who voted for me. It's a big honor to be named Best Actor and for Riviera Rose to win Best Film. We were all very tired at the end of shooting, but we knew we'd made a good film. I guess none of us imagined it would be such a big success though. Okay, I know it's bad to have to listen to long lists of thank yous, but I have to say something about some of the clever people involved. So, special thanks to writer Claire Baxter for creating such interesting characters and a very funny script. To Michael Davis for his good direction, and to Barry Kenwood for his very beautiful cinematography. And last but not least, thank you to my very lovely wife for her support. I love you, Kayla, and I love you all. Single quote. 88.13 Listen and compare your choices, and practice reading the speech. Try not to cry. Everyday English. Exclamations. Exclamations often begin with how or what. We use what plus adjective plus plural or uncountable noun. What fabulous shoes. What awful music. What a, and plus adjective plus singular countable noun. What a lovely surprise. What an idiot. Dot. How plus adjective. How amazing. How incredibly weird. 1. Complete the exclamations with what, or how. 1, 2, 3. Underscore silly mistake. Brilliant idea. Underscore utterly ridiculous. Dreadful weather. Oops. 5. Rubbish. 6. Mess. 7. Awful. 8. Wonderful. 9. Relief. 10. Terrible thing to say. Which are positive reactions? Which are negative? 28.14 Listen to some situations. React to them using one of the exclamations from 1. 38.15 Listen to these sounds used in exclamations. After each one, write it in the correct line. Oops. Phew. Yuck. Oh. Duh. Ouch. Wow. A. Ha ha. How amazing. 2. Very funny. 3. That really hurt. 4. 5. 6. Oops. 7. 8. 9. 10. That's disgusting. I'm sorry to hear that. What a shame. I've spilt it. Sorry about that. It's absolutely delicious. What a relief. What did you say? You forgot to plug it in. What sounds do you make in your language with these meanings? 48.16 Listen to these lines of conversation and reply with a line from 3. 58.17 Listen and check. Complete the extra lines from the conversation. 1. Just the two you. 3. What are the 4? It's a. 5. They do work. 6. At. 7. You wouldn't. 8. You really. 9. It must be a. I like it, spicy, but not too hot. Be so disappointed. Of that happening? Exclamation mark. Being tall sometimes. With electricity. It's white and not red. Me eating any of those. Get a job as a comedian. Off your shoulders. 10. Don't talk with your mouth. 6. Work with a partner. Practice some of the conversations. Act one of them out to the class and make it longer. 7. Write a conversation with your partner, using some of the exclamations on this page. It could be about a holiday, a sporting event, an exam result, a meal, etc. Act it out to the class. Go online for more speaking practice.